mixed economy. So when we talk about mixed economy, basically we're talking about the combination of the free market and the planned economy. That is mixed economy. So here we have a question immediately on this case study. It says, who provides the goods and services shown in figure 11.1 and 11.2? 11.1 and 11.2 are private goods. So the private sector provides them. Okay. And okay, that's about that. Why do you think there are two sets of providers? The goods and services shown in figure 11.1 and 11.2. For 11.2, they are essential. They are essential goods. So this can only be provided by the government. The private sector cannot provide these ones because if they do, you have to pay for it. So anybody that cannot pay will not be able to take water. Anybody that cannot pay will not be able to get police as security. Do you understand? So it's difficult. So that's the second one. Then the topic, they said in group, so we don't discuss the group here. Leave that one. So we go to the topic, the public and the private sectors. It said an economy is a system that attempts to solve the basic economic problem. Are you there? The public, okay. We call it an economy because there's a problem of scarcity. So the only way to solve this scarcity is for the government of a nation to find a way of allocating resources. So that's why an economy is the same as a country. So a country is trying to solve the basic economic problem of scarcity. So an economy is a system that is trying to solve the basic economic problem, which is scarcity. I think the point is clear. So to solve this problem, we need both the market and the planned system. We need both the private sector and the public sector. So why do we call it the private sector? We call it the private sector because it is controlled, owned by individuals and private firms. So they are individual groups of people who control resources. We call them the private sector. And for the public sector, it means government is in charge. So these are government organizations that provide goods and services. Private sector the provision of goods is done by businesses. That is in the private sector. But in the public sector, it is the provision of goods and services are done by the government. I think it's clear. So we go on to ownership and control. For the private sector organizations, the ownership and control are either from the sole trader, which means the owner is an individual. For partnership, that means group of people coming together between 2 to 20, controlling it with him of making profit. That's partnership.
2 to 20.
2 to 20, yes. 2 to 20 people, partnership, yes.
Should be 20.
Yeah, that's the maximum. Yeah. Then we have companies which are controlled, are owned by shareholders. I think it's clear. So we'll go to the aims and objective of the private sector business. What are the aims of the private sector? One of the aims of private sector is survival. When we talk about survival, it means continuous operation. So for continuous operation or for survival, we talk about businesses that are newly established, new startup businesses. You know, when you are a new startup business, you can't quickly have the trust and you can't establish the trust of customers. Those customers are for existing business. So as time goes on, you start having their trust, then they start buying from you. So at the beginning, you might not aim for profits. So you might still aim for survival. That means continue running the business. So that is what, do you get the point I'm making here? A new startup business cannot make profit immediately. It's made, but most of the time it's difficult to quickly make profit. So because you're starting up a new business, you need to gain the trust of customers.
Yes.
You need to establish yourself, and establishing yourself might take time.
If you are a multinational.
A multinational business is not a new business. You can't be a new business and be multinational.
A new business in another country.
It's not a new business. You are just having a new location. It's different.
New location.
So new location is meant from new business here.
It's the same. It's the same as the...
No, when you are starting a new business, it's different from when you are going to a new location. It's different. Going to a new location, you are already in existence. You are an existing business. You are not a new business. I'm talking about a new business here. So a new business needs to establish itself. And to establish yourself, it might take time. As a result, you might not be making profit immediately. Rather, you might think about survival. That is for a new business. Another reason why businesses might aim for survival is during economic recession, economic decline. If the economy is in decline, Not only the new businesses, even all existing businesses might think about survival, because when the economy is in decline, the aggregate demand in the economy would fall. A lot of businesses will not be making sales. As a result, you only try to continue the business. You only want to be in the business. So you can't make profit at that time. Do you understand? So during recession, business might not be able to make profit. Rather, it might aim to survive. Is it clear? The second one is profit maximization. For profit maximization, we're talking about most of the businesses that are established, most of the businesses, the owners are aiming at making profit. The owners want to make profit. As a result of that, they want to make as much as profit available within the market. So that could be the aim. Our aim is to make profit, to maximize it, to make the highest possible profit in the market. That could be an aim of a business. The third one, growth. When we talk about growth, we're talking about expansion. So a business might start thinking about expanding its business, might start thinking about establishing or expanding its operation. Maybe it has made a lot of profit. So now that you have made profit, we start thinking about expansion. So the aim of a business might be to expand, to go bigger.
It have advantage and disadvantage.
Sure. So the advantage of expansion is that it brings about economies of scale.
Yes.
So you will reduce, your average cost of production would reduce because you are expanding. You will enjoy economies of scale.
And for the government, you will employ more.
No, we're not talking about government here. We're talking about the private sector. Please don't put them together. The private sector is what we're talking about here. The focus is the private sector. One of the aims of the private sector is growth. And when I talk about growth, it means expanding the operations. When you expand the operation, the advantage of expanding the operation is that you enjoy economies of scale, average cost reduction because of expansion. So when you are able to reduce your cost of production, your average cost of production, it means a unit cost of your product, the cost starts falling. As a result of that, you might be making more profit. So with growth, a business will be making more profit. Do you get it?
Yes.
The last one is social responsibility. A business is socially responsible if it does not only think about the shareholders, rather it thinks about all the stakeholders. Do you understand? The other one you're talking about, we're not talking about public sector here. We're talking about private sector. And private sector, the only thing that involves government in the private sector is maybe monetary policy. Monetary policy, or policies that goes with structuring or putting this country into structure. Government is involved. But to control or to make businesses, it is not government. The private sector does it. The individuals, groups of people, those are the people that make businesses in the private sector. It is not government.
Mr. It's not. It is good for the government.
If private sector,
government to involve in something.
yeah, it has its own advantages, it has its own problems.
Can you give me a problem?
Government involvement in business. If government is involved in business, there might be inefficiency because government workers are not always efficient. They work based on what they get. So because they work based on what they get, there's no motivation to do better. In the private sector, you can get more if you work more. In the public sector, their salary is fixed. So there's no incentive to do more. As a result of that, they might not be efficient. So productivity might not be increasing in the public sector. Is it clear? So that is about growth. For social responsibility, it means the business is trying to ensure that all the stakeholders are happy, not just the shareholders. So the community, the customers, the employees, owners of the business, government, you are making everybody happy. You are trying to do the right thing. That means socially responsible. You are not emitting carbon. That is social responsibility. So a business might aim to be socially responsible. Is it clear? So this is all about the private sector. Any question about private sector? Good. So we'll go to public sector.